Welcome to your daily dose of the year, where we go through some amazing things to do with the Origin SMP or just mods in general to do Minecraft. Today we're going to be doing the 5th and final installment of discussing Origin ideas and concepts for Technoblade. A brief piece of information that I've heard floating around. I haven't exactly found the clip to prove that this is a thing that's actually happened so far. According from what I've heard, Filza has said on his stream that they've already decided what Technoblade's origin is, and it's going to be a wither-based origin. They're just waiting for him to next turn up on the server in order to give it to him. I guess we'll find out Technoblade's origin when it actually happens and when he finally logs back into the server again, and I will make sure to have that video out as soon as it can be once we have the information that we need to know for that. Either way, if you're new around here, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, as it's always helpful when we're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. Either way, let's get into the concepts and hope you enjoy the video. One of a concept from Tail Weaver. The idea is the Blood Knight. You live to serve the Blood God. Use the boons he has given you to honor him as well as his name. Running through the pros, you got Lifesteal, which is your passive. Rip the life force from your opponent's blood by hand or blade. Amount of health restored is equal to the damage dealt. Health restored is capped at the mob's max health. Hunter's Graves. Years of hunting for food and fur have made you keen on where any living creature is around you, around 3 chunks. Blood Keen, passive. Piglins are followers of your lord as well, and because of this they see you as family and will jump to your aid if you're ever under attack near them. Bloodied Aura, active. Bring forth to the will of the god, for you will hinder your opponents, making them rip for the slaughter. Gives nearby mobs, players, etc. the following: mindless, weakness, slowness, hunger, mining fatigue for 12 seconds, as well as a 1-minute cooldown. And Bloodburn, active. Bring forth the wrath of the blood god. Sacrifice your own blood around 3 hearts to smite down those who dare oppose you. It's your next successful attack to give Wither 3 for 10 seconds. Running through the neutral abilities, we got Bloody Feast. The blood from the flesh will nourish and heal you, and you will suffer from ill effects from eating raw meat, but you are now unable to consume plants or cooked food. Warrior's Might. You are deaf with a sword and a shield, yet other weapons are not something you're used to using. You deal more damage with a sword, 20%, and a shield takes longer to break, and you cannot be stunned, but other weapons have a 40% damage reduction. Bloodstone. Sharpen your weapon with your own blood. 4 hearts, full durability, and fight on. Skeletal Rivalry. Your hatred for the undead is without limit, but unfortunately so is theirs, so you deal bonus damage to them and they deal bonus damage to you. Running through the cons, we got Bloodied Soul, passive. Your years of slaughter and mayhem have tainted your soul, and any neutral mobs, wolves, golems, etc. will still attack you on sight. Villagers will refuse to trade with you and even will flee if you get too close. Cold Heart. Your morality is so skewed that your blood has cooled down drastically, making you unable to stay in cold areas for long periods of time. Anarchy. Your lord does not like organized factions, so being around a group of 3 or more players, not counting oneself, will result in your blood boiling, burning you from the inside out. Royal Guard. If a piglet or a fellow blood mite dies around you, 3 chunks, you'll be temporarily stripped of your powers for letting such a travesty happen. And Cracked Heart. Spreading a prolonged period without feasting on the bloods of others, 3 in-game days, your heart will begin to consume your own. Half a heart every 3 seconds. Really big and nicely detailed one. Running through the next concept from Dave Liu. Got another origin suggestion for Technoblade underneath the Evoker-based idea. Running through the pros, Technoblade never dies. Even if he's not holding the Totem of Undying, you have a 25% of having the effect activated when killed if you're not holding one. Vexes. You can summon 2 Vexes as your primary ability that will fight for you. Takes 20 experience levels for the ability. Fang Attack. Summons a deadly Evoker Fangs that deal around 6 hearts of magic damage. Can be summoned in a circle or a straight line depending on the amount of health the player has. Below 5 hearts it will summon in a circle around you, otherwise it will shoot in a straight line. Costs around 10 experience levels. Base stats. You gain the best stats of an Evoker with 2 extra hearts and 2 base armor. Stacks with normal armor. Old Friends. You can ride Avengers if you see one without someone riding on them, and I will attack with them and use your own attacks as well while on top. Neutral. Sorry Wilbur. If game rule of mob griefing is set to true on the server, essentially mobs can damage blocks, or blue ship within a 16 block radius that change to red sheep. Tough relationship. All pillagers along with other evokers are neutral to you. However, if you steal from their chests or hit them, they will do double damage to you. And through the cons, we got the boss drops. Being killed by another player has a 5% chance of dropping a Totem of Undying, as well as a 10% chance to drop an emerald. Essentially, you're unable to pick these items up yourself, only the other people who killed you can, and if the player does end up dropping them down, it does disappear as well because it makes you a target for other players. Magic Deprivation. If you're alive for more than 15 minutes and you're without a single level of experience, you will instantly die. Aiding PTSD. Villagers are scared of you and will refuse to trade with you. Iron Golems will attack you on sight also. Imagine using axes. Due to your primary magic to fight, you have lost your fighting skill with axes, which now hit even more slower and do not disable shields. And Hard Life. You are unable to tame any animals whatsoever. Through the suggestion by Shish Hajme, I definitely butchered that, apologies. Devil Origin for Technoblade. Running through the pros, does a little more damage than usual to all mobs and players, is also immune to fire and lava damage, has an ability to fly for 20 seconds with a cooldown of 5 minutes, and gets 2 extra hearts and does 2 times more damage when on fire or in lava. And through the cons, you cannot interact with any type of water, you have negative potion effects effects like weakness, poison, etc. last for 10 seconds more than what they usually would. You can only eat meat, and you also get weakness and poison for 30 seconds if you have not touched fire or lava within the last 10 minutes. Going through a concept submitted by Shadowstar, we have another idea for Techno, Blood Wither instead this time round. Going through all the abilities as it has not been sorted by pros or cons, unfortunately. Blood Knight can only use swords. Nether Addiction, you can only wear Netherite armor. Neverborn, you spawn in the Nether. Blood with it gives any mob 20 blocks radius with the Wither effect. Blood God has an additional 10 hearts. Blood Stag, every enemy he kills he gains strength 5 and resistance 5 for 30 seconds. Bloodlust, if you kill an enemy you will activate Blood Wrath. Blood Wrath, if activated, you must kill 30 mobs and all players. If you do not, you will lose hunger, have slowness, and you will also lose 10 heart if you fail. And though played, all your swords will have sharpness 5 and fire aspect by default. Not gonna lie, sometimes a few of these origin ideas are pretty cool ideas from the get-go, but they do get a bit overkill in how ridiculous they are. Like I don't think there was any disadvantages here. There was no cons whatsoever. The way rolling through a suggestion by Red-Headed Elf, Werewolf origin for Technoblade. The lore was he was born human but raised by wolves. Eventually you grew to gain their abilities but keeping your human form, making yourself not only an alpha but also a true werewolf. Running through the pros, Pack, spawn in the world with 2 other wolves. Sharp Teeth can toggle strength 2 for 10 seconds, 1 minute cooldown. Predator has looting 3 when killing sheep. Feast can also eat bones. Running through the cons, Vulnerable, you have 3 less hearts than the average Minecraft player. Creeps, you have a weakness against creepers. Carnivore, you can only eat meat and bones, and enemies, unable to tame cats whatsoever. And the last concept idea that I will be covering today comes from Madman14. The idea behind this origin is it's meant to refer back to the Techno Skywar days. The Sky King, a furious Sky Dealer who has proved himself as a warrior and a leader of all sky creatures who is skillful and cunning fighting. Through the pros, he has double health, he can fly, takes no fall damage, deals extra knockback, can sprint faster and jump higher, had faster natural regeneration, throw snowballs and eggs at a high velocity, calling them to deal 1.5 hearts of damage. Running through the cons, can only fly as fast as walking, takes extra knockback, cannot wear armor, cannot use axes and swords better than wood, only use projectiles to deal damage. Passive ability, players, animals, and mobs in a 4 blocks radius will gain him extra speed. Active ability, when activated, a lightning strike is summoned wherever a projectile the user launcher makes contact with another player or block. This strike deals 2.5 hearts of true damage and gives players, mobs, and animals in the surrounding 3 blocks radius 3 slowness 5 for 2 seconds. As I mentioned at the start of the video, at this point in time, from what I've heard, I haven't been able to confirm it or not because I have not been able to find this clip, but according to what I've heard, Bilza has mentioned the fact that they have decided on Technoblade's origin and they're going to give it to him and reveal it when Technoblade next appears on the Origin SMP. I'm also going to go over the fact that right now I think we're heading up to the finale of the Dream SMP, so people in the Origin SMP are playing a little less as they prepare for the big event. But that does mean that once this big event happens, there's probably going to be a lot of stuff coming out for the Origin SMP for a bit of time. Either way, that's all I have today. Make sure to go check out the new video on my side channel that I posted yesterday. Highly appreciate it if you do. But until next time, guys, I'm going back to the dark place which I once came, and goodbye.